Assalamualaikum.
How are you?
I'm good, Ali. How are you? क्या हाल चाल है? क्या situation है? Are you in Karachi or Lahore?
I'm in Lahore right now.
You are in Lahore. Okay, you're in Lahore right now. बिल्कुल सही है. There's lots of good daylight coming in. Is it really hot?
No, it's actually very humid. I don't like this weather so much. But this is like I'm in a fairly open space right now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of. Let me show you where I live. I have This is like a place where I get a chance to just enjoy the weather and the rain, and whenever I get it.
नया गाना बना और नया गाना आपने बना दिया और उसमें कहा भी आपने ये कि नया गाना बना. अब उस दिन आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी ब्रेक कर रही थी. So I'm going to ask you something which may sound repetitive to you, but just for the audience's understanding. So it's obviously a very open expression of what you are and who you are and what you were feeling. And I believe there was a press release जिसमें, correct me if I'm wrong, जिसमें the particular word that is being used in the song उसको आपने गालिबन change किया है ताकि शायद audience accept कर सके या ban ना लगे या ऐसा कोई scene है?
Like it's turning into a riddle called Banjo. Banjo is as legitimate as it can get, right? But it's not Banjo.
It is
it's
not.
A swear word.
Yeah, it is a swear word, and that part I understand. But why?
Yeah.
Why would you? I mean, I understand it's an honest expression, and globally भी हम देखें तो artists बहुत vocal हैं, बहुत expressive हैं. And you have been expressive before also, but it seems like something either triggered or initiated you wanting to say this so bluntly. Why? Did something happen? Was there a particular incident? क्या लोग पीछे पड़े हुए थे? नया गाना बना?
Sheer level of frustration. Sheer level of frustration. And there's nothing other than frustration. And frustration was that spending so many years making music, one just suddenly starts getting really, really frustrated because yes, you know how to write. You've learned the craft of writing a new song. You've learned the craft of producing new content, but still it doesn't feel new to you. Just doesn't feel that it doesn't move you. It just feels like another regurgitation of the same stuff that you've been doing, And it's a song that addresses that problem. And as far as the fact that it's blatant, that's just the way it came, And the only reason why we changed it to Banjo was because I was never going to change it until I went to perform a live concert. And then I suddenly saw so many kids there. I'm like, मैंने गाना तो बजाना है, लेकिन what do I do? This is going to be a bit irresponsible. Yeah. So at that moment, we just changed our mind and gave it a shot, and it worked out really well. And I think, as long as the message is put across, that's what it is. I mean, it's not an intent to try to create some kind of a stir or virality or whatever, because that's not who I am. I don't work like that at all. And I don't think it creates controversy. I've never experienced controversy in my life like that. With all the things that we have been doing, we still haven't experienced that emotion of what people experience when they create controversy or are a part of a controversy. So it didn't work like that because the intention was never like that. It's always been an expression, and people have been kind enough to appreciate the honesty and whatever it is, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, just deal with it, deal with me and my atrocities and my abnormalities, and that's what it is,
You said something which is very diary worthy, which is that it was never intended to create controversy, because the intent of something always comes through. जो चीज controversial लोग बनाना चाहते हैं, even if they may pretend, वो बहुत हिम्मत I think चाहिए होती है. आपको शायद ना लगे, but इतनी progression के बावजूद, 21st century में enter करने के बावजूद, I think पाकिस्तान में लोग डरते हैं, थोड़ा घबराते हैं in expressing themselves to be who they are. So I think you are one example who is never really bothered. कि कोई समझता है समझे, great, नहीं समझता ना सही. Am I correct in saying so?
The only part that I'm trying to say, I've met a lot of people who are unapologetic, and I've met a lot of people who don't care, and all over the world. But I don't think, the part of me that is very, very conscious is about my sense of propriety. I do believe in a sense of propriety, which does not mean being मुझे क्या कहूँगा, एक उर्दू में होता है बेमंतक होना, यानी कि जिसके अंदर आप मंतक को लूज कर जाते हैं. मंतक से मेरी मुराद सिर्फ लॉजिक नहीं है, मंतक से मेरी मुराद एक सर्टेन objective pursuit of what is right. So from that standpoint, my general life has been that, you only be unapologetic if you have a purpose, if you have a goal. You only become unapologetic if you have a desire to explore something where all these things become unimportant. Not conforming to society or not conforming to the way people go about it is just going to become a kind of like a rebel without a cause. Not conforming because you've got something better to or something more serious to pursue. वो कहते हैं ना, कंजरी बनी मेरी इज्जत ना कटती, मैं नच के रब नु मनावांगी. ये बुल्ले शाह ने बोला कि जिसमें आपका पर्पस जो है वो बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है और ये मैटर नहीं करता है कि आप किस तरह से परसीव हो रहे हैं. मेरे केस में वो पर्पस हमेशा हैज बीन एक्सप्लोरिंग लाइफ, trying to understand as many dimensions of it as I can, and then trying to use music as a toolkit to somehow take a few glimpses of it and share it with the world. And music to me has always been an excuse to connect with people. That is my clear-cut position.
So somebody is saying like, Ali bhai, you would look fantastic as a warrior. Have you ever considered playing any warrior role? You would look very cool in a movie or something. Sword would look amazing with you. कभी सोचा है ऐसा?
मैं खुश हो गया तो मैंने कहा असल में warrior बनने को बोल रहे हैं. Real warrior है. I wish I could become a real warrior, but I don't know what I would be warring against. That's the only issue.
I think they're talking about the look with the dadi and the bar and with the Artugul craze that's going on nowadays. I think maybe that's the correlation. And also,
I haven't seen a single episode of Artugul till now, so I really.
Neither have I, by the way, but I hear it's real good.
Yeah, someone is saying, do you read books now?
So, what kind of books do you read, Ali?
I stopped reading. Now I read. मुझे classics बहुत पसंद है, बस वो मैं शौक से पढ़ता हूँ. लेकिन अपने आप को कभी Mayor of Casterbridge दोबारा निकाल ली, तो कभी Jane Eyre निकाल ली. मजा आता है मुझे पढ़ने का. पुरानी किताबें और शॉर्ट स्टोरीज बहुत शौक से पढ़ता हूँ. अब आजकल जरा एक रेगुलर रूटीन बनाई हुई to read a short story a day,
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Abhi, I can't say. I'd like your opinion on this. कि अभी probably 2000 या चलिए 2010 onwards कह रहे थे. 2010 onwards वो अंग्रेजी मौसीकी हो, वो बॉलीवुड की मौसीकी हो या वो देसी मौसीकी हो. Do you think कि वो इतनी substantial है या इतनी relatable है या इतनी timeless है कि 50 साल बाद लोग इन गानों को क्लासिक कह पाएंगे? नहीं है ना?
No.
And why do you think that is the case?
That's a very long debate. One will have to delve into 3 or 4 different aspects, but I want to summarize it for today. I think all I'm going to say is the reason why it won't be classic is because it does not tally with the evolving mind of today. It's a rehashing of, because music का limitation है. Music is just 12 notes. इसमें से barely 7 notes use होते हैं in a scale. You don't even use all 12 notes in the entire sort of the thing. So music का जो mind के साथ relationship है, वो जब भी exhaust होता है तो वो music जो है वो बहुत irrelevant हो जाता है, वो उसकी life का, because we still don't know how music affects the mind. We still don't have a very clear idea of how it emotionally, creates what it creates for all of us, right? So the timeless music है पिछले 40-50 साल पहले का, and bear in mind कि हम जिस music से familiar हैं वो recorded music है, वो barely 100 years old है. मतलब the first phonograph or the record player did not come 100 years से पहले. So for all practical purposes, the music that we're listening to these days is like the extreme level of abundance, if I may say, of musical ideas that are all over the world. And when you have that level of abundance, the mind has no connections खत्म हो जाते हैं. Timelessness तब आती है जब उसमें substance भी हो और वो connections create करे with your mind that last you over generations. यानी कि जो आपके parents की और उनके parents की जो emotional connection था music से, वो genetically आपको transfer हो रहा है as a human being, right? वो इसलिए आपसे इतना रेजोनेट कर रहा है, कनेक्ट कर रहा है कि मेरे बच्चे भी जो हैं वो एंजॉय कर रहे हैं बहुत सारे पुराने गाने जो कि मैं एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करता था, which further proves the point that there is something about that music that it's like lock and key mechanism. Every time you hear something musically substantial, it unlocks something in your brain, and then you keep on remembering it, and it becomes a part of your life. वो आज इसलिए नहीं हो रहा है because music मुझे हमेशा लगता है कि intention driven होता है हमेशा से. And whatever the intention is, it doesn't need to be verbalized on a level where you know exactly why you did it. But sometimes when the intention is to connect, it happens. Sometimes when the intention is other than connection, it happens even in the... Because सारे पुराने गाने तो अच्छे नहीं होते ना. मतलब कुछ अच्छे हैं, कुछ बुरे, कुछ बहुत ही बुरे. You know, so the point is कि वो जो बुरे गाने हैं so called, वो मेरे ख्याल से non-connecting गाने हैं, और जो बहुत ही अच्छे गाने हैं वो communicative, connecting गाने हैं. और कुछ लोग इन द पास्ट जैसे इंडिया में एस डी बर्मन थे या वेस्ट में, इवन फॉर दैट मैटर जैसा शेक्सपियर है या गालिब है, दे हैव कम समहाउ मास्टर्ड दैट आर्ट. दे अंडरस्टैंड द नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन एंड द नॉन वर्बल कनेक्शन की गेम उनकी समझ में आ गई थी. एंड दैट्स हाउ दे, यू नो, of course there was a purpose, but the purpose was to communicate, always to create. They never intended to... I don't think great artists have an intention to be famous. I've realized that across the world. It's always a byproduct of what they do. The other people who are very talented, who get impressed by famous people, tend to go in that route, and yes, many of them find huge success in emulating the models of other success stories, but their intention being that, unfortunately, very few of them end up creating long-lasting classic. They're like, you know, वो एक मौसमी पौधों की तरह, one-hit wonders की तरह होते हैं. And one-hit wonder does not mean one hit. It means just a small time in which they were very relevant and then just kind of like dwindled after that. Because they never went to explore and understand what was it that makes their thing meaningful and timeless and whatever. Neither did they take out time to really indulge in exploring how people before them did what they did. तो वो एक एजुकेशन प्रोसेस होता है, राइट? वो जिस तरह जब मैं क्लासिक्स पढ़ता हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ प्लेजर के लिए नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ, उसमें मेरी एक लर्निंग हो रही है बहुत ज्यादा. जब मैं कोई पुरानी चीज देख रहा हूँ, समझ रहा हूँ, तो मेरी एक लर्निंग हो रही है उसमें. और वो थर्स्ट, वो डिजायर, वो नीड टू एक्सप्लोर more and more and more and gain, you know, not just knowledge but wisdom has essentially been a thing that I find common in all people who have managed to do something meaningful in their lives. They're seeking wisdom rather than seeking just an ability to understand and be a virtuoso at something.
We have a very cute comment, Abhi, which is Azam Akram. He says, Ali Noor Bhai, I took your autograph on my register back in 2008 on a bus stop near Sherpa Bridge. आप Shizan से अंडे लेने आए थे. Such a real...
भाई मैं अंडे नहीं ले सकता. मैं अंडे नहीं ले सकता.
And the fact that he remembers and the fact that he still has it, that's really sweet. I think that's really, really sweet.
I must say that I have been very blessed that I am surrounded. You know, Allah Miya sabko, or Allah Miya or no, I have no idea. मैं ज़्यादा इसलिए नहीं बोल सकता because ये सब इंसान की personal होती है. But there's something out there for sure. And when I look at how, you know, the nature, God, karma, whatever you want to call it, when it plays its game with you, it essentially surrounds you with those people that are you know, that are either right for you or wrong for you, and it's a choice that you make. I've been very blessed, I think, all my life कि जिन लोगों के साथ associations बनते चले गए, वो लोग बहुत ही अच्छे रहे. वो अच्छे इंसान है, और अच्छे इंसान की ज्यादा कोई मेरी इतनी complicated definition नहीं, सिवाय इसके कि वो लोग जो जिंदगी में बेहतरी की तलाश करते रहते हैं. Not for themselves, but there's a basic sense of humanity to them. That's all I can say. They're slightly less selfish, slightly less self-absorbed, slightly less impressed by the grandeur and the beauty of, or not the beauty, but rather the seemingly, you know, attractive things. They just seem to be normal, grounded, down-to-earth people. And that's, I think, the biggest benefit of this music and this journey has been that one has got an opportunity to surround themselves with these kind of people. और फिर उन्हीं में से कुछ लोग explorers होते हैं, ideas के पीछे भागते हैं, जो जिंदगी में more than just ambition से drive करते हैं, जो चाहते हैं कि जिंदगी को मकसद हो, वो भी इन्हीं लोगों से मिल जाते हैं, तो जिंदगी अच्छी कट जाती है, you know, Because I think they say that a man is known by the company he keeps, and I suppose it's not a question of just a man; it's a human thing. A human is known by the company he keeps. I think it's time to go beyond man and woman. So, but basically, I do believe that this music business has allowed me to find some good company, some decent enough company to evolve and explore, and that's how it has been for me.
That's wonderful.
I'm sorry, I tend to get all philosophical every 5 minutes, but that's how I am.
No. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Achhi baat hai. Coming back to Yes Music, how soon will we see more music from you, or is that not something that you can, identify right now? Do we want to see more music?
No. I've recorded a whole album. We've shot. So basically, ये तो जो आप देख रहे हैं इस वीडियो में भी अगर आपने देखने का मौका मिला, this was just I moved out to this place that I showed you, this farmhouse, and I got musicians to come and stay with me for 21 days, and we recorded an entire album worth of material. So it was like like a Big Brother going on, a musical Big Brother going on in my house. And we spent 21 days. We finished 7 songs, and we'll be putting them out one after the other. So I think we're just waiting for Muharram to finish the first 10-15 days. And then we start kicking off a song, every week or every 10 days. And then, because I think the only thing that I have a regret in my life is being, the amount of prolific content that we had created, the fact that it never saw the light is my biggest frustration. And it was just stupid of both myself and Ali Hamza to not, make a system out of our songwriting process, that we must be taking out content on a regular basis and checking it out. So वो एक learning है. So I don't think one should stop.
मुझे एकदम से याद आया, because obviously we've all been a Noori fan. अब मीडिया में आने का ये मतलब नहीं है कि लोग fans नहीं रहते हैं लोगों के, and I think इंसान को इतना ही grounded रहना चाहिए. There was a concert that there was a place called the Third Base in Islamabad. Mohsin, I think, owned it. ठीक है? And आपने swimming pool के सामने आपने concert किया था. ठीक है, स्विमिंग पूल खाली किया हुआ था उन्होंने. I was obviously attending that concert. अब इस्लामाबाद की सर्दी क्या ठीक ठाक सर्दी होती है. And we weren't expecting, because वो open area था, pool area था, सर्दियाँ हैं, started setting in. None of us, I remember us group of friends, जिसमें से कुछ लोग आपके भी friends हैं, personal level पे friends हैं, Nariman and all, Bex. So ये हम सब
I think we turned up like last minute flight से हम पहुंचे थे ना, इसमें full ulta.
Probably, and it turned out to be a really, really good audience and turnout. और हमारी जिसको कहते हैं कुकड़ी जमी हुई थी सर्दी में, because हम लोग में से कोई स्वेटर नहीं लेके आया था, सिर्फ हम शॉल्स लेके आ गए थे.
मुझे याद आ गया, बिल्कुल याद है.
But
मुझे भी एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं थी कि ठंड होगी
इतनी ठंड
उस दिन.
You guys were cold and you were warming up. Then तो हम लोग अंदर गए, आप लोग वार्म अप किया, फिर वापस आए. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is I hope that concerts की रवानी जो है वो दोबारा शुरू हो. किसी भी किस्म की जो restriction है, once this pandemic is completely over, वो वो restriction को हटा दिया जाए.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
But I'm just saying that because whether or no weather, location or no location, last moment or not, आपकी music ऐसी थी which people would do a lot for in terms of wanting to be a part of it, attending it, listening to it, whatever it is. So that's why I said it's heartwarming that the fact that you're saying that you did this 21-day marathon and produced Gaane, and we're going to get to listen to it very soon. Thank you for bringing this good news to us. So
I think the only thing that I'm dealing with right now is that everybody wants to hear Noori stuff, whereas this is Ali Noor stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of exploring a different sonic space was to, go beyond the sound of Noori. And everybody's like saying, we want to hear it. So I just think it's important and pertinent to share that, that this is a different sounding album. It's a very different sounding album, and it's definitely an extension of what I do, but it's definitely another level of exploration, because this is the first, my foray into a serious level of collaboration with individuals, rather than just being a control freak that I have been for the last 15, 20 years. And only Ali Hamza knew how to deal with it. So, the fact that this time around I have to really, एक होता है ना होर भी नीवा हो फकीरा, तो मतलब the fakir who's the epitome of humility has to learn to be even more humble. So I think for me, I don't know if I'm a fakir or not, but one thing is for sure, I've had to confront a lot of my demons of being the person that I am, and होता है ना कि एक चीज exhaust हो जाती है आपकी, cover up nahi karti hai nature aapki flaws ko anymore. It just starts, they just start popping up when the time is right.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to struggle with your demons. And I think my biggest demons were the inability to truly collaborate, because I think one tends to suffer from, for lack of a better word, intellectual narcissism once one starts getting some breakthroughs in whatever their philosophical or practical journeys have been. तो उसको fight करना एक बहुत massive एक internal conflict से deal करना होता है. And I got an opportunity to do that with this album. With this album, I had to learn how to give in, and learn how to work with people who, although are not in a position to dominate my point of view, but the fact that I want to be able to let them shine as opposed to myself be on the forefront of it. That is something that I've had to learn on this project, and that has changed my life. So that
Ali,
is what
it takes a lot to say this. बड़े लोग, मैं तुमने ऐसे बड़े जाने माने, नॉन जाने माने, खासतौर पे एक certain age पे आके I think अपने आप को इस तरह break down करना और दोबारा mold करना, reform करना, अपने आप को allow करना कि इंसान reform कर सके अपने आप को, it takes a lot of emotional, mental and spiritual strength. Which physically obviously impacts you also. I'm very proud of you. I may not know you personally, but I am very proud of you for saying this, for doing this.
You seem to be a person that is worth knowing personally. So I hope that we'll get a chance to interact whenever Kismet allows.
For sure. So, it's very kind of you to say so. And इस session को wind up करते हैं. आपका जैसी अगला गाना आएगा, we'll be the first people there to want to connect with you again, and we're going to talk very soon. ठीक है, अपना बहुत ख्याल रखना, and thank you so much for taking out time.
नहीं Salveen, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I must confess that होता है आपका connection बनता है. I've been doing this ever since the album has been released and talking to people and doing all the PR stuff. Yours has been the most. It's made me happy talking to you right now. It's made me really happy.
You.
I really hope to have a lot of conversation with you.
Inshallah, very soon. Take care. Mulaqat hoti hai. Allah Hafiz. That was Ali Noor, and that was such a wonderful conversation. Take care till next time. This is me, Sulmeen Ansari, saying take care. Allah Hafiz.